Whoa, welcome back, fellow dragons! We're on to what is probably the last day of this trial. I don't know. Yep. Defendant lobby number 2. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Dorian, wait! I never liked you. Either of you. Huh? Darn it, we were so close. He was about to tell us. Hey, Apollo. I must hear what you had to say. I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Hey. What was that? He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking? Valiant Grimoire explained as he walked in through the door normally. You weren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valent? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Oh, with vanishing magic? Indeed, I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand Grimoire glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell. Oh no, you don't. No skipping town. And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of the magician. Can't pull off a show without one. Big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually involves cutting things up like people or elephants or the Eiffel Tower, anything really. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Then Muir's disappearing act. And Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Oh, excuse me, sir? Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the convenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first. It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business? Great. I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. Hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. Chief Justice's son. Oh, that's right. I remember yesterday morning the judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care, there's an article about it in the newspaper. You care to read about it for yourself. Okay, well, now I have to look at that. Incuritis. if I heard that ridiculous name before. Like, seriously, fellow dragons. I mentioned this last episode, but itis is a suffix meaning inflammation. It is used pretty much exclusively for inflammation. Laryngitis, inflammation of the larynx. Appendicitis, inflammation of the appendix. Typically, once it's found, it is known to be like appendicitis is one of the extreme cases. Usually when they find that, they have to take that shit out immediately. Tonsillitis, similar thing to appendicitis. Well, easier to just take it out in that case. Bronchitis, which I have chronic of. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think... Yeah, no. Laryngitis, inflammation of the larynx. Appendicitis, inflammation of the appendix. Tonsillitis, inflammation of the tonsils. Bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchial tubes. It's inflammation every time. But the translation team did not bother thinking about that. They treated it as if it was meaning disease, not inflammation. Because bronchitis itself, for example, isn't so much like it's a medical condition in itself, but it isn't a disease. It's typically caused by something like the rhinovirus, which is the common cold, influenza, COVID, allergies. In the cases of some people with asthma, laughing too much. The inflammation itself can be caused by a disease. It itself is not a disease. And the first time I played this game, the name of this condition bothered the fuck out of me just from that. So what the hell is an incur? Why is it inflamed? Nah, they're using itis to mean disease, so they're just like incurable disease. Ooh. Dumb. I'll let you read the article for us, Paul. Just leave the TV guide page for me. Try not to lose the page with the flungies if you can. Why is my right elbow so rough and sandpapery and also hurty? But why is my left not? At least not to the same severity. Weird. Okay, yeah. Room number 3 again. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say his name again? Machitobae, our subject fortissimo. Right, it's his trial in any case. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No, well, yes. It's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. Pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Fake name disease, was it? The article said there is no known cure. Dear Judge, let me say this with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked Interpol about that number. IPXX314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Letus. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading now. Wait! That voice just now? It was him. I'm sure of it. It was him? That voice I heard talking to Mr. Letus when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Daryan. No way. Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Daryan would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Daryan Crescent is the member of my band, the Cavaliers. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet after investigation, I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Herr Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. Yeah, but here's the thing. Between 9 p.m. and 9:30, blood loss due to wound. Time elapsed between shooting and death, currently under review. Because here's the thing. One does not bleed out instantly from a shoulder wound. Bleeding out instantly would require major arteries to be either multiple major arteries or some of the really bad ones, like heart, like right by the heart, or the carotid artery up in the neck, although if pressure's put on that one quick enough, sometimes people can be saved. But those, like, I'm also not a medical professional, so I just know of rare cases with someone with, I just know I've heard of circumstances where people have been saved from a carotid artery being partially severed, not fully. But, like, not common. Like, severe shoulder wound like that. Like, you can bleed out, like, depending on where the wound is, you can bleed out, but, like, I know that the timing of the case is when they think he was shot and when he was actually shot is a trick. I remember that much now. This trial, my memory has been jogged enough. I just, don't remember how the game's gonna get there. He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let's review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. Gaviniers ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. Only performers appearing were my... Oh my gosh! That fucking cutscene. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lemure, and Machi, along with a drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the 3rd set. Lemure and the defendant, Machi Tobae, had left the stage at that point, and the Gaviniers were already rocking. This is when 2 shots ring out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lemure herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescend talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescend was... Precisely. Detective Crescend was on stage getting his groove on, no less. Voila, a perfect alibi. The dog just seems to think my snapping was for her. It was not. She needs to hush. She is a silly girl. It's not quite based on how her bodily functions usually run. It's not, she shouldn't quite have to use the bathroom yet. Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true, when I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darian Crescend's alibi has been acknowledged. Which means that Lemure was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well, of course we'll disregard her testimony. Then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections. Uh-oh, Apollo. If he declares a verdict now... the prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lemure might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait. What about yesterday in the detention center? About the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latouche's death. This meeting is over. Yeah, we've seen this already today. Machi was trying to tell us something, I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him under oath. Very well, the court finds the defendant, or what's his name again? Your Honor? No, it wasn't something like that. It was like Marquise or Mr. Justice. Your Honor, before you declare your verdict, I would like to call another victim. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... I do. The defense calls the defendant, Machi Tobae, to the stand. What? But he doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases such as, I love you and where's the toilet? The defense would like to request Lemure as the interpreter. Lemure? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Hair Forehead. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If Lemure lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Very well, if both prosecution and defense are for this, then I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lemure to the witness stand. I suppose there's a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lemure. Yes. He says, Machi Tobae, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Then again, I watched a man cross-examine a parrot. Not that we really need an interpretation for that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. Huh? If I would what, Your Honor? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo, aren't you going to ask him what he wants to tell us about, what he wanted to tell us about yesterday? How can I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lemure? Just now. Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something. What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. Words. The suspense is killing me. Words. What? What? Well, Lemure, according to Machi, he has proof of his innocence. What? This is a surprise. Yahoo! Victory, Apollo! We did it! This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Machi, please testify to the court. Very well. Proof of innocence. He says that word of Mr. Latusse's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lemure to know the meaning of that song. Lemure? Did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lemure might be protecting the witness. Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. I worked yesterday, I'll work today. Oh, boy. Press everything. Were Machi and Mr. Latouche close? Yes, after we traveled around the world on tour together. Lemure, this is Machi's cross-examination, not yours. But I knew the answer. This is a court of law. We'll play by the book. I understand. When Prosecutor Gavin's tough, he's really tough. Machi said he was very good friends with Mr. Latouche. Mr. Latouche was always a gentleman, never angry. We got along quite well. I never dreamed something like this would happen. The guitar serenade, correct? Yes, the crime followed. Yep. The theft of the keyring, the burning guitar, the bullets. This is why it could not have been me. But I could not have done it. You mean? Blah 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 blah. It is very simple. Machi could not have done all the things that happened that day, for all those things followed the song lyrics closely. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? He did not know what the song was about. Its mood, shall we say, this was enough to play by. I told him it was a song about a guitar in love. It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking. Oh, perhaps I misunderstood. Ah, no, not really. Yours is a valid interpretation. Okay. No, it is my fault. I am too used to singing in Borginian. It is much easier than trying to understand these English lyrics. Yeah, I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, Trucy, I do. What's wrong, Apollo? You've got a tummy ache or something? Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. Gonna look. Oh. Here again. Here again. Here again. Okay, so not this one. Shit. No, not what I meant. I have to do the thing for every single one now. Because I don't know what his tell is, but I can see through his... can see through his things. Press. Okay, well, hold on. Her position has changed. That's the only thing. Okay. I think I've pressed everything. Pressing this again. And I couldn't have done it? It is very simple. Machi couldn't have done all the things that happened that day. For all those things closely followed the song. Okay, well... I don't see anything. His hands are way down there. And I progressed too far. Okay, well. This is all I can do. gotta be here somewhere. Up. Shifty eyes. You speak English, Machi. You can't fool my eyes. You glanced towards her the very moment Glamour said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that. He understands me. Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? Well, what are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language, that is all. Why, give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but I'm sorry, he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It's simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Bourguignon Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They have already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. I have a Bourguignon newspaper, the Bourguignon Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? Urgh. That's right, it doesn't mention the lyrics. What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Bourguignon newspaper. What does this mean? But I don't see how it is possible. Ah, I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning, yes? Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard of them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain herself, or himself. Machi says, he says... Yes? It is true, I read the newspaper. But this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lemure? Yes, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. It looks like Herr Forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. Seems so, yes. No, no. He's on to something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else... My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well. Witness? I understand. It was I who explained that the crime followed the song. Exactly how much did you explain to Machi? Ah, this is a question for me, yes? This interpretation thing is getting old fast. I told him that Mr. Latouche had been killed and why he was a suspect. And I told him the crimes of that day followed my song. Did you mention any particular words of the song relating to the case, such as heart? Yes, of course, I explained this. He was quite surprised. Yeah, I knew he was innocent. I believe he is too, but yeah, we're still on the same thing. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not fully understand them. Pretty sure the one who's lying... Here again. Here again. Oop.
Gotcha!
You're doing the swallow again. Lamure, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there's little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lamure, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lamure, you're protecting... Technically, I think the one she's protecting is actually the magician, but it won't let me save here to go back, so we're gonna go with Machi. Lamure, you are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it. I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lamure lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover up a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. Poor kid. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes. A little only. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lamure? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? This is last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard the 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room behind desk. Manager, key on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there's voice. Voice or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So Machi went into the dressing room. Mr. Latouche had already been shot. Then we came to the door. Panel high up. I take off. Run away. Run away. So it was you who escaped through the air vent. Prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene of the crime. Might we take this as a confession? Objection! No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor, already on floor. Objection! The victim had already been shot, you say? I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. I don't see a dislocated shoulder on this kid. I don't see a broken arm. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait, no, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? Cocoon is silk, potent cure. Cure? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? Words. He won't tell me. That cocoon has something to do with this. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Air Forehead. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It seems that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. I think food just finished cooking, fellow dragons. In fact, I think the beep actually happened a while ago, but the toaster oven would have turned itself off. So, I have food to check on real quick. I'll be back. Okay, we're finally back, fellow dragons. For real this time. I forgot to unmute my mic. And now I'm nervous as to whether I had it muted or unmuted the entire time. I'm worried I might have to redo this entire episode. It should be fine. Apollo Eustace? It's justice, better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe. I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it? Suddenly, I hear revolver close, very close. Then I hear voice. You heard gunshots. Yes, it's true. I hear revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead, then you heard shots? that's true. So you were at the crime scene when you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent? I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I opening vent, I can leave stage and backstage. So vents go to both stage and backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Yeah, but how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from Magician. Magician? Don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I don't think Phoenix actually ever said that to you. What the? Why did the setting on my mic do a different thing? Hold on. There we go. Now I can see the thing better. Better. Yeah. Sorry about the coughing, fellow dragons. I'll just pretend you misheard him every time. So, what do we do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking. No. Well, it was worth a shot. That cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home. I can't go home to Borginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Borginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. Of course he's scared. Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo, so what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. Alright, back in the courtroom. I've already read this part before I realized that microphone was doing nothing. Mr. Justice, have you sorted out things with the defendant? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So, will he testify? Your Honor, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame. And here I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Actually, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different angle? Sorry about the cough. If Machi won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lemure. Lemure? Hey man, there are people up in those stands. What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lemure's testimony was insubstantial. Hold on. But my hair was doing things. And smacking me in ways it should not have. There we go. There's nothing you can... Lemure was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted Lemure dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin, why would anyone be out to kill Lemure? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think... I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you're saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lemure's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly. If Lemure was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lemure's testimony once more. Lemure, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots in the shooter's voice through the window. And that the voice belonged to Darian Crescend, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. Small window at the scene was closed and found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court? Of course, Your Honor. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and that detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the window. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. There is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lemure was attacked because of this testimony. What, Trucy? Apollo? You know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly examine this witness? I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. Is something wrong? I know I said hold it, but she's saying the same thing she said before. Mr. Justice? Sorry, it's nothing. Please continue with your testimony. Now I know what they mean about reckless youth these days. The one in red over there is a shining example, Air Judge. You're the last person who should be pointing fingers, Mr. Rockstar. That's when I heard them. Mr. Latouche and the detective. Daryan Crescend? I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him. The one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you? That's impossible. There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe we can try a different angle. What were we... Lemure? Do you by chance remember what they were talking about? What they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I have given it much reflection, but... I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remembered something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I don't understand what was said. This could be the clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Daryan Crescend. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now. Switch? And then the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche? I thought that was quite strange myself afterwards. It's a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, I'd be... Bleh. I mean, sure. I'd be delighted. It's, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? Press. It was Detective Darian Crescen's voice. I'm sorry, I need to check something with this. Nope. Everyone but second and guitar. I thought I might be able to hear a switch click. But... yes, I am sure of it. It's over, press the switch. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche? Apollo? The murder weapon, the revolver, was Mr. Latouche's, right? Yeah, what of it? Well, maybe when he said press the switch? He really meant to say pull the trigger? Because his English isn't so good? Darian Crescent is a native English speaker. Oh, right, sorry, I kind of forgot who that was. Press the switch. That's not something a killer usually says to their victim, is it? Was there no one else in the room? I do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and then stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. Okay, that would be a switch. Pressing everything. There were 2 gunshots. Yes, I heard 2. One after the other. That fits the bullet holes of the scene. Nothing really new here to pick up. Why didn't you tell someone immediately? Well, if it were me, I would have gone to the police right away. It is our duty as citizens. This may be beside the point, but Lemuel isn't a citizen. Though one would hope such common sense prevails in Borginia as well. Lemuel seems awfully quiet all of a sudden. That's strange. Could she be hiding something? It is as you say, yet at the time... I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. Press. You were in a hurry? To go where? I was on my way to the backstage exit, as I have said. Why were you in such a hurry, then? Well, I don't think that has anything to do with this case. It very well might. Please answer the question. Are you alright, Lemuel? Yes, I am just tired. Recall what I told you yesterday, Hair Forehead. Lemuel suffers from serious amnesia. Please refrain from traumatizing her further. What, so he can just dismiss questions he thinks are too traumatizing? Why don't you prove her reason had a connection to the case before asking about it, yeah? Prosecution's objection is sustained. Current question is moot, Mr. Justice. Please continue with your cross-examination. Lemuel was attacked because of this testimony. I know she was, so something has to be hidden here. Maybe there's some detail we're missing. Guess I'll just have to get her to fill in the blanks. Right. Alright. Okay, well. Switch. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called the switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene, but it just so happens I have a switch right here. It's the thing we're playing the game on. Just kidding. That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice Lemuel heard was of someone commanding another to press this switch? It's a possibility. Objection! Oh, Herr Forehead, I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It is hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lemuel's dressing room. Not to mention that the Gaviniers were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Herr Forehead's cries of possibility followed far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said, or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on the stage from the dressing room. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this? Why that's... What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communication device. Communications device? From what I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yes, actually. They're for talking between the band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. Objection! True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lemuel said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section diagram of the concert forum. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be. So when Lemuel heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage. Huh, you're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch? Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. I was sure this is the way to go with this. What is this switch, anyway? We don't even know what that basic fact. Wait a second. We do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of plot to its logical conclusion... it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of it. Think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning the switch, Your Honor? Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. It's the console we're playing the game on. I'm going to keep making this joke. It is never going to be funny. I am still going to laugh. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking this switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is? Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this. Ugh! That's... That what? Is it another of those newfangled phones? This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote? I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Yow! Yow, yow, yow! Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I'd expected. My whiskers had caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ah! Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Borginia from Lemure. He said the sound was amazing before it burned. Of course, now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. There, forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by Lemure, and the guitar's sudden catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed, and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense, though something about this is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really, it seems pretty simple to me. Hair forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. Guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? His story simply makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this, indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. Ah, that's right, of course. This cutscene again. The guitar got fired during Lemuel's song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise of this is faulty. See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation for the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? Glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act. What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard shots and found the body. All this happened in the third act. Gunshots rang out. And according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony. Namely, that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know the remote triggered igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What? Order. But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of the song, yes? Hey, he's right, look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look. Why would the shooter craft the events of that day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through. With little merit for the person doing it. Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose. Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have to come after the guitar burst into the flame. Yet her forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. Order. That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
Objection!
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. Giving us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic. For it is flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Herr Forehead. One I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the crime scene was closed. How could Lemuel have heard a voice through it? Oh. I know that you would like to divert our attention from this critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Lemuel's testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? What we do have is a man saying, look, we do have is a man saying, press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be a coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lemuel heard the voice? A key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lemuel heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think, how was Lemuel able to hear the voice? She was somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it. Had it been open, the shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either. Meaning, it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Ah, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. As I was saying, Lemuel could not hear the voice through that window. So there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. What's this?
What's this?
What, would you like to read for the judge from now on?
Well,
That's what I thought. You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and your good sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and your good sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret for you, Herr Forehead? Lemuel clearly stated she heard a voice through that small window. And there is only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim Lemuel heard a voice from another location. Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lemuel heard the voice from... This is where Lemuel heard the voice from. But that's no small window, that's the air vent. What did she tell us? She said she's a Borginian unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone from beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So Lemuel was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Hair Forehead. Oh? What about it isn't logical? Hardly merits saying. Why would Lemuel be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lemuel? You have been listening to our discussion here, yes? Yes. I admit it. It's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I feared our prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Ugh. The problem here is words. Lemuel, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it high up on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Order! Order! I will have order! Body, why? Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room, and that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact I was. I'm sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. May I remind you this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling to that room. Please. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard that voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. Bound to secrecy? In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance? So this did happen during the second set? I did not witness the crime. You must understand. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for, yeah, Air Forehead? Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact that may hinder that mission. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was up at that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. Okay. Press. Exactly who bound you to secrecy? I am not sure I'm allowed to say who it was. No, I think perhaps it is alright. It is just a name, alright? It was Valent Grammari. Perhaps you know him? Valent Grammari? What? You mean Uncle Valent? What? Valent Grammari? Who's Valent Grammari? A grand magician. The one responsible for the illusion performed during our concert. Interesting reaction, Prosecutor Gavin. Lemior was bound to secrecy. It's going to take some hard-hitting proof to make her talk. I think I know why she was up there, but how do I prove it? We just got the name. We already know. Okay, well. Fine, press everything then. Above the ceiling, could you be more specific? I cannot. Because you're bound to secrecy? Yes. To tell the truth, I was not even supposed to say I was above the ceiling. I dare not say more. Doesn't sound like I'll be able to coax it out by just asking. Press. So without a word, you just let the third set start? After the curtain closed for the second set, there was still much to do. You could have prevented this whole misunderstanding if you had only told us sooner. Yes, perhaps I could have. I see little point in badgering the witness. What's done is done. Mine works differently when one is in the middle of a performance. Why, I've lost my voice in the middle of a show and kept on singing completely unaware. Singing without a voice. If only all contradictions were so obvious. If only I could get Lemior to talk. Pressuring her like this doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. Alright, well, fine.
Objection!
Here, have the tape. Lemior, truth be told, the reason for your presence above the ceiling that is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. Yeah, there's no way I was gonna sing that, fellow dragons. The flow may have matched the music behind it, but it was like the lyrics were weird because translation and all that. But you know, and also with all the reading, you know, voice problems, you know. Yep. As we can see, Lemior was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lemior is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved back to the back of the forum. Apollo? What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer, and I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha. He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage through the backstage to the rear of the forum. Ah! Recall Lemur's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lemur knew this because it was part of her illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know if I open a vent, I can leave stage and backstage? He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. I had no idea that the route would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lemur to secrecy. Well, Lemur? I'm impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you. So what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that, but I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honor? As I said before, there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops. How could she do it so fast? Oh, I remember. That's a good question. Yeah, well, nope. Especially, yeah, it's like, how could she do that so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well, Mr. Justice. Yes? It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how Lemur was able to teleport like she did. I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Ugh, why do I get picked on? It's Lemur who isn't going along with the program here. As I've stated before, I'm not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this, Mr. Justice. It will be your job to bring out the truth. Or to bring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would, please. Right, I feel like a student before his finals. Good luck, Apollo. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage, where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side of the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. I have to just find a contradiction between what Lemuel is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. Can't reveal another magician's secrets? Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here. A kid's life is at stake. Death penalty shit, man. Big illusion. Okay, well, hold on. Tape again. Okay, well. Listening for something, because I think I remember something annoying in this part. If I can find the thing. Okay. Something's not right. Where? I'm trying to hear if, okay, wouldn't have been yet. I have a... Okay, yeah, she's still on stage, so the gunshot wouldn't have happened yet. I remember having to pinpoint the part of the video. Oh! Oh, there's a stunt double. I got it. Because we can see the moment the igniter actually goes off. That's where the problem was. Okay, we've already found the situation for later. We've already found the thing that screwed me when I played this on DS years ago. Okay, well, press everything. How did you proceed along this route? How? Why, I walked. But you arrived beneath the forum much too fast to have been walking. Tell the truth, Elmior. You rode some kind of vehicle. What? A vehicle? What vehicle? Ah, what a novel idea. I like it. Hey, that's not a bad guess. Wrong, but not bad. Laugh at the dumb attorney. I don't mind. I'm sorry, but the girl is right. That vent was much too small for vehicles. It was a tight fit. Even I had to crouch as I walked. I cannot imagine a vehicle that would fit in such a small space. If it wasn't a vehicle, what was it then? You have been going for a while there, Mr. Justice. Too bad. Ready for the next part? Why do I feel like I'm on some kind of quiz show? There's an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited.
Hold it!
Did everyone on the constant staff know about the trick? Not all, only a few that were needed to help. See, like I said, it's on a need-to-know basis. So not many people knew about the trick. I'm looking at the court record again because my brain's thinking about something. We've got the performance. Okay. Brooch. Yeah. Okay. We got brooch. Brooch. Moment the igniter went off. Still brooch. Yep. No brooch. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, it's a stunt double. Not many people knew about the trick. What were these stagehands required to do? One needed to open the emergency exit. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there. The door to the stairs is locked, but once through there. From there, one can enter the forum on the opposite side of the stage. So, when you came back out, you were behind the audience? Yes, that is how it worked. Not a bad show if I do say so myself. That's Uncle Valen for you, the old Grimare touch. But on the video, you were only gone for 20 seconds. How is that possible? That's the part I don't get either. Yes, it would be hard to go so far in only 20 seconds. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. 2 minutes? Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running in that cramped dark tunnel above the ceiling? Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. Ah, that is true, but... So you're saying on the night of the concert you made that trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lemure disappeared on this video for 20 seconds. But she said she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony? Evidence explaining the discrepancy. Yeah, there are evidence. There is one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between the testimony and video. It's the brooch. Lemore, do you happen to remember this brooch? Aha, the brooch. We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing up this now, why? I thought we had already determined when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at this video. Here, you can see she's wearing the brooch. So she is. Let's look a bit later. What? The brooch is gone. What? Yes, the brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can only be one explanation. The Lemure we see before the Vanishing Act and the Lemure we see after are two different people. What? What? The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene, and not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lemure, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage at the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Order. Prosecutor Gavin? From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge. I, of course, knew about it. What? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right, there was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lemure was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who was this replaced with Lemure? Why, the man behind the illusion. Valent Grimare. It was Grimare? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, so you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this fake Lemure was still singing, and she's pretty good. That's true. Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Cavaliers aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Lemure. Very well. Yes, do tell and add it to your testimony. I had to keep singing even while I moved.
Hold it!
You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings. So I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling towards the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing when everywhere I go is the same darkness? But if you were singing while you were walking, that's right, wouldn't the Shurim victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads after all. That is right. Are you sure? You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the crime scene. What state? Ah! I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker. That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Ah, that's for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring? Pipes in real-time feed from the stage microphones. Useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So Lemure's singing in the ceiling sounded just like Lemure singing over the speaker. Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her voice! Ah! Lemure? I have just remembered something. Do tell. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes. It startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped. Thankfully, it was at the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing... Huh? That machine, Apollo, the one that breaks music into tracks? Oh, this, I'd completely forgotten about it. Let's take a listen. Oh. Interesting, yeah. It's making us watch the entire... Okay, good. The song does stop there. It does? I must have missed it. Look at the lyrics sheet. At the top of the second verse, see where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. Yep. Yep. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second. During Lemuel's ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darjan Crescend could have done it. He wasn't on the stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? Fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Air Forehead's theory does have a certain logic to it. Yet it is entirely based upon Lemuel's testimony. Yes, is there a problem with this? Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she's lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The man, you don't mean... Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darjan Crescend must take the stand. I see no other way. As someone with a new perspective on the case, as a suspect, to be frank. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. I'm ready to catch him. Darjan Crescend, get ready for justice. This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man that needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. Saving a separate slot just to be safe. So, fellow dragons. I am 90% sure that only part of the recording wasn't picked up, but I have made this separate save just in case. That's gonna do it for this episode, fellow dragons. That's gonna do it for this episode, fellow dragons. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. And I'm probably gonna finish off this case soon. The next episode the case will definitely finish. But, yeah. That's gonna do it, fellow dragons. I'll see you next time. Bye!